Welcome to Working for Progress, a podcast that connects us through conversations about how we craft our working lives and make progress. Through open and thoughtful conversations, our podcast starts with simple pleasures, finishes in awe, and meanders through career journeys in between. This podcast is rooted in Tribe Porty, a community co-working space and creative hub filled with entrepreneurs, freelancers, charities, social enterprises, and SMEs. We believe in the power of connection, sharing stories that inspire, challenge, and celebrate the many ways we shape our working lives. Join us as we dive into the realities of work, purpose, and progress, one conversation at a time. Today, we're joined by Dawn Thomson, an energy psychologist and relationship coach. Dawn's work focuses on love, sex, and self, helping people navigate relationships with others and themselves, especially when they feel stuck in dynamics that no longer work. A gentle heads up, this conversation includes discussions about sex. Welcome, Dawn. Dawn, it is really nice to see you. We're saying it's been 10 years since TEDxPortobello, the first one where you were our finale speaker.
It was. Thank you for having me. And that was such a great experience. I still talk about it and I still think about it 10 years later. I can't believe it's been 10 years.
I know. It was quite magical. And the people we brought together were they've been lifelong friends and contacts that I've really appreciated. So it's nice to see you again.
Lovely to see you.
We're going to start out nice and easy with your 5 simple pleasures.
Ooh, 5 simple pleasures. So that's interesting. My first one is puzzling. I'm a New York Times games woman. I'm a Wordle person. I'm a Strands girl. I love it all. The last thing my husband and I do in bed at night is connections.
Love it.
Which is so I love that. So I'm a massive puzzler. And I would say finding something to laugh at. I'm always looking for something really daft to laugh at. So, Steve Harvey or something on, Family Feud, something just really daft. Love that. Sex. Okay. Massive pleasure. Healing in so many ways for me. And yeah, all of it. So that's 3. Ooh, talking and connecting with people, just like I'm doing with you, Dani. Honestly, it's just the simplest and most direct way to get expanded, I think, for me, quite a lot of the time. What would the last one be? Just playing, like my kids and my husband and I play games quite a lot, and I just love that. Just when you just put things aside and you just do something really daft, and you know.
Oh, that's my favourite as well. We play a game almost every night at dinner, and
what do you play?
All kinds of things: Bananagram to Rubik's Cube to poker to all kinds of things.
No, it's just we play a lot of what do we play? Cluedo. I'm rubbish at Cluedo. The other 3 are amazing at Cluedo, so I'm always like, yeah, I was in the
but you're a puzzler. How are you not good at Cluedo?
It's the logic and the whole way they do that whole. I'll just pick something I've already got to make sure. And I'm like, I don't have that level of
forward
too
planning
straightforward. Yeah, and kind of I think it's almost a bit like subterfuge as well. My husband's really good at going. I'm going underneath this, and I'm like, why would you do that? Just what's on the top? Like quite surface. So yeah. Trivial Pursuit, fantastic.
Yeah.
Logo board game, amazing. Cluedo, crap.
Brilliant. We're going to talk about your kind of working journey and probably lots of other things because there's so many topics we could discuss, and I'll try to make sure I keep on track here. But we'll start out with the kind of top 3 values or values that you live by that kind of influence your work, but also maybe they've come from a long, long time ago.
Yeah. I think they do. I think they come from childhood and they've just expanded. So I would say that my 3 are respect, but respect with kind of civility and consideration for people, love in all its forms, because I think if we all loved each other more and expanded into love more, the world would be a different place. And from that, I think my 3rd value is personal power and agency, freedom for the person. And that's actually pretty much informs my work. That's what I want people to get to in my therapy work, so that they can make the right choices for themselves, and then communicate that kindly and with consideration to people around them, whether it's their partner, whether it's their family, whether it's wider work colleagues or whatever.
I love those. Do you know, I don't know if I've had love before, and I'm surprised by that.
I am.
Yeah. It's definitely been my themes, you know, when I kind of pick a word for the year, thinking about like this body is a body for love and how I can interact with people through love in every little and big way.
Yep.
But you're right, it does transform the way you think. And it sounds simple, but it's not simple.
It's not. And, you know, we've been so brought up to be hierarchical and, you know, be better, move above. And a bit of that almost means that you're not being particularly loving to people on their pathway, or yourself
too. Yeah,
if you're going, oh well, there's got to be better, it's got to be more, it's got to be wider. Why? You know?
Yeah, totally agree. And do you think that, I mean, those are quite big, important things. Do you think they've come from, you say they've gotten wider, they've started from childhood, but can you think of a time where, say, respect, how that was brought into your life and how you value that, and then how you kind of live that value?
Yeah, well, coming from a West Indian family, my parents are Barbadian. I was born in London, but the West Indian way is respect in a really harsh way. So, you know, if they want your opinion, they will give it to you. That kind of respect. Respect your elders. Don't mind your P's and Q's. Don't do this. Be this. Do that. And so as I was brought up in that, you know, speak politely, which is something that I really miss nowadays. And whilst it kind of shaped a kind of way of being, a framework and a culture, I think it was almost not respectful. It was almost like we just had to respect because they thought we should.
Because you're being told to.
Because you were told to respect somebody. And so it made me think, what does respect really mean? And I think it's about honouring people wherever they are. Do you know what I mean? And so moving through that, and I mean, I left, as I said in my TEDx talk that was hosted here, I left when I was 19. And so I was able to kind of grow up and out of that sense of this is what being respectful is, into my own understanding of what it was, which is more about understanding and kindness and consideration. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And trying to find what mattered to people and respect that and in an honouring way. Do you know what I mean? So it became a softened but a broader way of being.
Yeah, because I think sometimes, like, when you're told to do something but you're not being shown necessarily the ways, it's not, it doesn't mean much, does it?
No.
And the kind of mature way of approaching respect is much more intelligent in terms of, like, you have to look at the whole thing. You can't just say this and then your actions, you know, the integrity part is missing.
Absolutely. And there's that element of, you know, which is I think why the feeling of personal agency came into it for me, that you can't just do it because they say so, and you do have to understand why you're meant to do it, and you're also allowed to go, no, actually I don't think that's what I'm going to do. But in my culture, getting brought up, that was not a thing. There was you just had to stick with the norm. And I think that comes from a traumatized place, and it does. There was a lot of trauma and dysfunction in my family growing up, and obviously going back through the generations. Yeah. You know, mind yourself, keep yourself safe, keep yourself small, keep, you know, from a safety point of view.
Keep yourself safe. I mean, literally, you will be killed.
Literally, or you'll be killed.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And respecting who you are, I think, you know, I was brought up because I was an intelligent girl as well, it was like, do this for this person, do this for that person, be the bauble to say, what a good daughter we've brought up, or what a good student this school has produced, you know? And so, but it was quite performative.
So you left home at 19 from London, and you came, where did you go?
I came up to Edinburgh.
Okay.
I came up to do the Edinburgh College of Art thing because I loved, obviously, So I think I like Georgian architecture because I literally applied to Bath and Edinburgh to go and do my degree, and I'm they're kind of similar. But I think Edinburgh was just, it really took me by surprise when I came up, because we used to do, on the open days, we'd do spot the black person. How many people are around? And I remember standing at Waverley Steps and going, okay, how many black people are here? Thinking, like, one, me.
Yeah.
And then this old lady grabbed me and she was like, see me across the road, hen? And dragged me across Princess Street. And I was like, what? Because, you know, this was the late 80s. In those days, if an old woman saw a black woman, they'd probably be holding their bag closer to them and think, you know, in London, they'd be like, oh God, what's going on? This wee woman was like, on you, and I was like, oh, okay then, darling, fine. But it was really, it really took me by surprise, you know. So, yeah, I came up to do my degree, said to everyone I'd be back in 3 years to regale everyone with tales of men in skirts and stuff.
Never went back.
Just didn't go back.
So you did an art degree?
Yep.
And then what happened after you graduated?
I went into my dream job of graphic design.
Okay.
And worked for 2 agencies. And then when I was 27, I set up my own agency. Because clearly I can't take direction from many people. But, you know, in those days, in the 90s, it was a really thriving scene in Edinburgh for advertising and design. And there were a lot of...
Toxic male community,
Dani.
though. Like, big time.
Facts.
I'm not even in it, and I know that much.
Facts. It was awful. You know, like, we had... My first agency was run by 4 guys who thought they were all the best thing ever. And I remember they needed an accountant, and they picked this lady. She was lovely. She was probably in her 50s, and one of the bosses in front of all of us went, oh God, we can't have her working for us because she's not good looking. She's not young. I don't really think this is, you know, from obviously Adonis, not. And, you know, he's given it, oh no, and we're all sitting there, me and I still see these girls, we're all looking at each other like, why did they pick us then?
Yeah.
Was it because we were good, or was it because we were good looking?
Yeah.
And, you know, and they had, one of them told me that I had issues with being black during a creative, we were talking about creative work, and he came out with that.
What?
Yep, an Aberdonian, because he'd know about that.
Of course, they would know,
you
so much about that.
So much. Another one of them, I was having a party at my flat, came to my party and said, oh, you're not living up to your potential really, Dawn. We're really disappointed. At my party.
Nice.
you
Clearly
know,
threatened. See, these are the tricks.
Wow. But, you know, to come into my home, I have quite a few, I've had that in my life quite often. People literally coming to my home and say something so outrageous that I go, you know, it kind of sets a kind of, it stops you, doesn't it?
Yeah.
When you're reasonable, and someone, that's what Trump's doing. He's so unreasonable. We're all going, what?
We're all confused.
And in that space of what, he goes ahead and does, oh, and I'll do this and I'll do that and do that. That's why unreasonable people rule the world. But yeah, that was awful. So yeah, I set up my own business.
No wonder.
Right? 2 women. And actually it was an all-woman agency for a bit, and it was really lovely. And then I realised, well, I had a bit of a toxic relationship with my partner, which can happen as well, can't it? But that was 7 years, really good. Met my husband, got married, and I changed my name. And I changed my name because I knew I needed to do something more than what I was doing. Because what I had found in graphic design was I loved it, but the thing that people said to me most of all when I presented the work to them was, oh, you've made me feel so much better. Oh, that's great. And I was a bit like,
interesting.
Yeah, maybe there's more to this. Oh, you've made me feel so much better than I thought. And I remember one day I left my business, went freelance, and I remember just had my baby in her little chair, and I was doing this, keeping her, and I was designing an annual report, and I suddenly thought, I'm too old for this shit. I can't do this anymore. I need to do something else. And I had been my baby had suffered from baby eczema at the time. And I went down to Napier's, found a leaflet, and they were like, do you want to learn NLP? Because we need more therapists. And I was like, do you know what? I'll give that a shot. Because I'd been the therapist, looking back, for everybody from the age of 7, 8. People would come to me. And so it made sense. And to me, when I changed, I remember sending an email to all my clients saying, this is what I'm doing is the same thing. I'm taking a mass and a jumble of thoughts, and I'm, instead of putting it into a brochure or putting it into a logo, I'm just reshaping the person so that they can communicate better. Yeah. So it's all about
storytelling.
Yeah, and streamlining their communication to make sure they're heard and seen properly. So, I said, this is the same job. It's just being done in a different way, really.
Yeah.
And changing the world one person at a time. Change one person, then the dynamic between them and their partner, or them and anyone, is going to change and elevate. So, I love that. It's the ripple effect.
Yeah. So from NLP, then you did some training, and then when did you start your own business?
I did it. I think I did the training in about June, and then did some training in EFT, which I see you're doing a lovely talk on. Yep. And I think I started 6 months later.
Okay.
And I was just doing the whole, bring me a bottle, let me practice on anyone. If I do a good job, buy me a bottle of wine, buy me some chocolates. Let's see how we get on. And that's how it started.
How long ago was that?
Gosh. So Melissa was born in 2006. So I think it was about February 2007.
Okay.
And in the last couple of years, I've started to work with couples as well to help them find their way back to each other or not. Yeah. Depending on what's right.
Sure. Yeah, let's talk about that. I find that relationships, romantic or not, they really inform us who we are in a different way. Mm-hmm. Like, I think you can only grow so much on your own. It's when you kind of interject different people into your lives that it kind of opens up different sides of you. So I find that super interesting that you're now doing relationships. What made you start that addition to your work?
I think because I see it kind of the other way around to you, Dani.
Okay, yeah.
So I see it more like, it's one of my hashtags, which I hardly ever use because I'm crap at social, is the power of one.
Okay. Let's get chat.
Whatever you're vibrating at, those people and those situations that are a match for it come into it. You. Or are revealed, actually, because everything is already out there. It's just that we're our own social media algorithm. We literally only see the things that we believe.
Yeah.
So what I'm doing is I'm breaking apart those 6 to 9 pieces of information that you've always seen based on your beliefs. If I can get you to see something a little bit different, you'll see a completely different situation happening over there. And your dynamic, the way I describe it to my clients is, you're in a dance.
Yep.
Whether it's positive or negative, only one of you needs to change your steps for the other one to catch up and start doing the same dance, or to stand there and go, what the hell's that? What's going on? And then relearn something new or sit out.
Yeah.
Because relationships are all we've got. We're all connected. Everything's connected. And the only way that we can really feel that is, like you say, how we relate to other people. So what's happening in your life right now is the sum total of what you believe about your life and what you believe about you. And whilst that might freak some people out, I think that's a really lovely thing, because it means that all you have to do is change something in the way you think for something to imagine. It feels like magic. My clients say it feels like magic, but it's not. It's literally, you're just changing your algorithm to allow the thing to be revealed.
Yeah.
And
I guess the magic is helping someone arrive there on their own is your magic.
Love that.
Because that's...
Love it.
You can't be told something and then it happens, can you?
No, you can be told it. A lot of people can be told it and it can resonate, but yeah, some people just have to do the work. The work has to be done, and it might not take long for some people, might take a while for others, but I feel that change happens on a sixpence, which is why with my work, the longest I'll see you is usually 12, 16 weeks.
Okay.
Because otherwise I've not done my job properly. But I used to do a 6-session thing, and clients would be like, oh, this is amazing. And then they'd come back and the human in them would go, this is too amazing. I don't think I can really. So I had to build in another 6 weeks of aftercare for
integration.
Go, you're all right. You're all right. You're all right. So now they're much more. That was like when I first started. I was a bit like, you're done, aren't you? And they're like, yeah, but it's too much. It's too much fabulousness, because we're not brought up, are we, to think or expect fabulousness in our
even
lives.
hard, like good change is hard, right? Like change is hard for us.
Yeah, and when you change and it's amazing, but if you've not allowed your state of deserving it or really enjoying it to happen, you will push it away because it's just unfamiliar to a lot of people.
Yeah,
it's not familiar to be able to go, yeah, I can just do this. And I did work with a lady on would like to meet. So she had, this is the thing, a lot of my clients, it takes years for them to come and then they finally go, right. So this woman had been talking to me for 3 years.
Oh, wow.
And then she was like, right, okay. And I was like, right, let's do the work. So we did it. So we finished on the Wednesday, and she said, I feel really good about everything. I'm really open, blah, blah. I'm like, good for you. Great. Keep me posted. I went out for a coffee on the Friday, down at the Esplanade, actually.
Oh, right,
sitting there having a coffee with a friend, and she texted me. She went, I met someone yesterday, which was the day after she'd finished, and they're still together now.
Ah,
Because he was there, but she was like looking over there, and he was like, hello, I'm over here, but she just wasn't seeing it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that whole, and you are right, and that's how you know who you are, and that when you see how you relate to other people and whether you can relate to them, that is it does really underscore who you are, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think so. And people that are who they are with all people in all situations, they're the people that really know. Do you know that kind of integrity piece where you know you get people to act a certain way in a certain company, and they act a different way in different company. I really struggle with that, and in terms of trusting people. So I feel like if you've done that kind of deep work, not that you're ever really done. I don't think you're ever really done.
No, we're not.
It's a continuous thing
for sure.
forevermore.
Yeah.
But at least if you've done some work, you tend to be yourself in all situations with all people. I mean, obviously there's some variation, as we all do. People bring out different things, but at the core, But
that's
person,
rapport, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's just like speaking a different
Rapport,
language,
yeah.
but without being that performative. Oh no, I've got to be someone different.
Yeah.
That I totally get that. Integrity is massive for me. Yeah. That was one of the things that I still advocate. People making lists for their would like to meet. I do, people are like, oh no, you've got a list and that's terrible. But actually I believe you should have a list because it helps you align to the things that you want.
Yeah.
Or, vision board or whatever. And I remember making a list before I met my husband, and one of the top things was integrity. Someone who says what they does what they say.
Yeah.
And whether you like it or not, you can tell they totally mean it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Massive.
Exactly.
Massive.
Do you think, just thinking about how times dating, because you're mentioning people that are looking for a partner.
Yeah.
I feel like times have changed in that area a lot, and we have this kind of quite extreme polarized gender almost battle in some ways, and then sometimes even at Tribe when we're around social lunch, you can hear single people, and someone describes it as dating as a total shit show. There just seems to be like a real, I'm married and I haven't dated for a while, but like it just seems to be very different. And thinking about even my son who's 19, his experience with dating, is so very different. So I just wondered your thoughts on that. We probably don't have enough time to completely capture them, and even the fact that you've gone into kind of working with people's sex lives, you know, how sex has changed and how people, you know, there's whole groups and movements about, I will not have sex with the other sex because I'm on strike.
It's just become, I think it's almost the dating scene. The online dating scene has become so kind of extreme and so normalised that it's almost commoditised to people.
Yeah.
Because, you know, there's always, it's like looking for sofas. It's always going to be another sofa better. So you just flick, just swipe and swipe and swipe. And there's nothing about the vibe of the person. You know, I potentially would have swiped past my husband if I hadn't met him in real life.
Sure.
And caught his vibe. You know what I mean? But I think there's an element of not investing so much because, you know, there's somebody else that potentially
everybody's
next.
Lonely.
Yeah, because they've become these commodities as opposed to these lovely, interesting creatures. You're kind of being made to feel like if you don't do X, Y, and Z, you don't suit anybody. Or that's not true. But if you had a conversation, met each other, vibed, you know, I always say to my people who are looking for people to have relationships with not to go online for a bit, actually. Just don't go on it. One of my clients who was with a lovely man and committed guy, they've been together like years and years, but she couldn't kiss him for longer than 2 seconds because then she felt, how am I going to do it? Am I doing it wrong? Because based on what she'd seen in porn or, you know, that's too readily available as well. All that stuff. There's this element of, if I don't do X, Y, and Z, I'm doing it wrong. And I'm like, and we had to unpick the whole, what do you want? What does it mean for you? As opposed to what you think he will want. You know, it's about it's the power of one, becoming your own sexual being to share with, as opposed to being this thing that's meant to be of service to another person. And I think that's what's gone.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, everyone's angry. Everyone's
Everybody
angry
is
and
angry.
put upon.
Yeah, I kind of worry. How old are your children?
So I've got an 18-year-old and I've got a 14-year-old.
Similar. So I'm 19 and soon to be 16. But it's different for them.
For sure.
And trying to hold the space in the correct way is hard.
Yeah.
You don't want to sound too out of touch with current ideas, but at the same time, I'm not sure what's happening is very healthy in a lot of ways. A lot of what's happening just now.
No.
Oh, anyways, I like the way you put that, and I think you're right. It's about going back to who you are, what you have to offer, and how you're connecting with another being.
Yeah.
Who's also another being with their own set of things and desires and experiences and wants.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Amen to that.
Yeah.
That's what I do with my couples work, and that's what I do with all my work. That everybody is right in their map of the world. Everybody is right. You can't say you're wrong because I'm right. It's like, what does your right look like, and what does my right look like? And with respect of that, how do we move forward?
Yeah.
If we can.
Yeah. Yeah. Thinking about risks and wondering about the biggest risk you've taken, either in your life or your working life.
I think, you know, it didn't feel like a risk to come up here, but actually when I look back on it, what was I doing? 19?
Yeah.
Going to I was literally emigrating. I didn't know that. And I look back and I think, what the hell? You know, my daughter's only gone up to Stirling and I was like, oh my God, you know. And I'm like, Christ, my poor mum. And, you know, she did say, Dawn said she would be away for 3 years and she never came back. And I'm like,
oh, I get that guilt too. I live in another country, so I really get it.
Right. So that was really risky. But I think the riskiest phase I'm in now is losing all my clients through Facebook. And from a work point of view, I've had steady income and I've had a steady raft of clients for 18 years. And then suddenly, no. So it's forced me to go, who am I now then? What am I going to do? And do I want to go back? It's given me pause for thought. Do I want to go back and do everything I used to do? Some of what I used to do? I'm actually at the age, so as I said, I'm 56 in April. So I'm coming to the end of a life stage, and I'm about to start a new one. And a lot of my friends are talking about retirement, and I'm like, what? Really? Because I'm just starting again. And it's just like, I'm starting again. Yeah. And I'm like really excited for that new phase. But a lot of them are like, oh no, do you know what? Oh. And I'm like, wow. So there's this weird thing for me at the moment. Going forward, staying put, doing less, doing more.
Yeah. Speaking of retirement, I think I've been asking some guests, some are too young and then they're like, what? But yeah, rethinking retirement, or even getting a better word. In my head, I want to work as long as possible, but start working less as soon as possible.
Right. Right. Okay.
So I kind of want to, I love my work. So I want to keep that kind of the curiosity and meeting people and connecting and trying new things and exploring as long as I possibly can. Mm-hmm. But I don't want the hustle and the stress that I have maybe had previously. Yeah. So like I'm trying to rethink this next, I don't know, 30 years maybe? I don't know.
Yeah.
But how do you think about your future?
I think I don't want to retire because I really enjoy my job. And if I can get people to feel amazing, then it's great. Yeah. I think what you're saying, it totally makes sense to me, because in the last year and a half, maybe 2 years, I've been trying to just focus on my genius work and get rid of all the stuff that feels like hustle and feels like stress, and just make someone else who is in their genius work do it, because they love it, but I don't. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So I've spent a good portion of time finding the people to do the social, to do the accounts, to look at my emails, to do all the stuff that really drains me, so that I can just be the, hi, come on, let's work on you person. Yeah. You know? And if I can do that, and I can do that I was only working with 6 clients a quarter. So that's only really 6 hours in 12 weeks.
I suppose, yeah, because you're an hour per session, aren't you?
Yeah, it's an hour per session. And I quite like that, because it has given me time to just sit if I want. And I think when you're in your zone of genius, it doesn't feel like work, so why would you retire? Yeah. It's only if you're doing a job you really hate that you're like, oh God, get me to retirement today. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. I think, we're living longer, but our quality of life isn't necessarily better, so it's trying to get those pieces right as well. And if we don't look after our health, we're going to have not as good of a later life as we possibly could, because that's when those things start breaking down and impacting everything you do. Yeah. Tell me about the last time you felt a sense of awe or were in a state of flow.
Do you know what? I really thought about this.
I love this. This is my favourite question.
I was a bit like, can I really talk about my sex life? I'm not sure. So I've left that to the side.
I would love to hear it, but up to you.
That's the best flow state for me, essentially.
Okay.
Because I go somewhere else. And then at the end, I'm like, where did I go? I'm back. Okay. And it can be really transcendental for a lot of people. And I really think sexual healing is a thing. So having been diagnosed with this, whatever it is, that's been a real thing for me, to just make myself feel better and healthier. And I genuinely feel healthier afterwards. Yeah. So I would totally advocate that, and I'm all for that, particularly for women. Yeah. To reframe that. But I think that the time that I felt most in awe, most recently at work, was when I had a session with a couple who had decided to split, and they were trying really hard to stay together. And I had said to them, one option is to split up, for the moment. Yeah. And 2 weeks later they came back, and it was like watching a TED talk. They were both so loving to each other. They both were so respectful to each other. The affection was still there, but they just wanted to do different things, and they didn't want to give up on their respective dreams. And they were of the age where they should have been moving to Dunfermline and getting a dog and a house and shit like that. And they were like, neither of them wanted to do that. They had bigger and more exciting dreams. So it was almost this sense of, I love you so much, but I can't stop you doing your fulfilling your dream. Good luck. And I was honestly so close to tears watching them, because it was just a real example of how parting could be. Do you know what I mean? With love and with genuine affection, and they were backing each other. They both wanted each other to do well, but there wasn't any of this, oh, we might get back together. There was none of that. They very may well do, but it was just so beautiful to see two people who loved each other so deeply let each other go.
Yeah, I don't think we give ourselves permission for that. You know, we were kind of, it's very, well, obviously there's a lot of people that split up, no doubt, and maybe they should and maybe they shouldn't, but kind of culturally it's never really a good thing to do in
seen
the
as
eyes
a failure,
of,
isn't it?
Yeah,
It's seen as you failed,
and you feel that real deep sense of failure,
for sure.
I mean, it comes at you from family and friends and you know,
and
inside.
You know, poor thing, you've split up. It might actually be like, oh, thank goodness you've split up.
Yeah.
Good for you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It takes a certain amount of courage. It takes a lot of courage to keep a relationship going long term anyway.
Yeah.
But it takes even more courage to say, you know, we've tried our best. And
yeah. What was I listening? I can't remember what podcast it was the other day, but this man he's a therapist, and everybody's speaking about how we always say, oh gosh, that's amazing, you've been married for 50 years. He's like, but it's not always amazing.
Absolutely
Sometimes
not.
people are diminished to shells of themselves because they
Absolutely.
stayed in a relationship that
Yes.
didn't promote themselves.
For sure.
So I'm like, oh, actually, yeah, we always say well done, but we need to remember that's not always the goal.
Absolutely not. And, you know, and I think that, you know, I know myself, my own experience, I stayed with the guy 4 years longer than I should have done. Because on paper it was great.
Yeah.
And we did get on. We didn't not get on. And, you know, our friends at the time were like, you're such a great couple.
But
So
I think that makes it harder sometimes. It's not obvious that you need to leave someone.
Yeah.
And it's scary because you don't know what's on the other side of not having that person.
And it's that glass ceiling thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you break it, all you think there is death, distress, or destruction.
Yeah.
You don't think, you know, unless it's so bad that you're moving to somewhere more compelling because it's so bad. But if it's not that bad, a lot of people just won't. And, you know, yeah. And then when I met my husband, I've only had 2 major relationships in my life, long-term ones. When I met my husband, everyone was like, oh, you're gonna eat him for breakfast. Oh dear. But actually our values and stuff were so aligned. And to me it was like a no-brainer. I knew within 3 weeks that he was the guy.
Yeah.
You know, but some people didn't see that.
Yeah.
But I could have easily have stayed in my relationship in the 20s, in my 20s. I'd be probably a drinker now in my 50s, or I would be, like you say, I would have withered on the vine.
Yeah.
And I would have become this person who just did and went through the motions. And again, the performative aspect would have come in about being the good wife, as opposed to the person I am and relating to it. So, you know, I really am all for people splitting up and giving themselves another chance, backing themselves. You know, some people are not forever.
Probably don't put that on your website though, do you?
I do.
Oh, you do?
I've got on my website.
Relationships. Maybe you should
a bit
split
about
up.
how to part.
Nice.
If you need to part. One of my clients was she was 70.
Wow.
And she split up with her partner of 40 years.
Wow. That takes courage.
She's so brave. She's now in the most amazing relationship with someone else.
I love it.
Her family are not happy. But we had to make sure she felt okay about it. You know, she'd given up 3 decades, 30 odd years, being with someone that she shouldn't really have been with at all.
Yeah.
You know, she was giving herself a chance at another. So that is a big part of my business as well, is to make sure that you future-proof your divorced life if you've got kids.
Yeah.
You know, you don't want to be doing the whole using them as pawns, making them, you know, a bargaining chip. I want people to part if they're not right for each other.
Yeah. Part well
respect, and
yeah.
kindly and with respect, so that your kids can model that and not take the trauma of you two staying together for them or getting pissed off with the other one and bitching about them. You know, I don't want that for the children either. I want them to be able to go, that's something I can do. I could be free to do this.
Absolutely.
If I needed to.
Actually, my son was speaking to his friend his parents had just split up, and Max was like, oh, but you could get a Bob. My husband's called Bob. And I was like, that is like the sweetest thing up, you know, like, oh, but it could be really good. And, you know, your parents could both be happy, and you could get someone else in your life that's also amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, because if your kids can see that they don't need to stay in a relationship because kids see everything. Everyone's like, oh, I'm doing this for the kids. The kids have watched you like telly from the minute they were born. They know more about your relationship than you probably do.
Yeah. On a kind of deep, emotional, resident kind of level, don't they? 'Cause they feel everything.
Yeah. And if you can say to them, look, I know this isn't right, and we're going to split, and we're going to do it kindly, and blah blah blah. You're giving the kids such permission. One, you're telling them they were right.
Yep.
To feel what they felt, because they knew something was amiss. And two, actually there is a way out of it. You don't have to put up with it. You don't have to watch us putting up with it and inhabit that space of this is what you do when you're married.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no.
I love it. Parting wisdom. I feel like there's so much in there, but maybe one bit of advice you'd give to the average woman that you were having a cup of coffee with.
Oh, cool, lummy. Do you know what? Trust yourself and back yourself.
That'd be the same for a man.
Okay. Would it? No. Yeah, it would. It would.
Totally would.
Okay, specifically for women, don't be afraid to stand up for yourself. You know, don't be afraid to be the gobby cow that people will call you because you've put your hand up and gone, actually, you know, be that woman. Create space for yourself, because we sometimes think to get ahead, being a little bit narrower and getting through. No, inhabit your space.
Lovely. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming in. Lovely to chat with you.
Lovely seeing you. Thank you.
To show your support, please like and subscribe to this podcast. If you'd like to learn more and stay connected to Tribe Porty and Working for Progress, please visit tribeporty.org. There you can subscribe to our newsletter and follow us on Instagram and Facebook, where we share monthly blogs offering insights into how we craft our working lives. This has been Working for Progress. We hope you join us again.